All right, so you've got a first date coming up, huh?
Lucky you.
And you want to feel confident,
Of course.
ready to make a killer first impression.
Right.
Well, you came to the right place, my friend.
Absolutely.
We are diving deep today
Deep dive?
into all the sources you sent us.
All those tips and tricks.
Everything from super practical advice.
Like what to wear?
Yeah, to like some seriously deep psychological insights.
Ooh. Getting into the nitty-gritty.
All about how to make that first date a success.
That's what we want.
But we're not just going to tell you what to do.
Yep.
We're going to try to help you understand the why behind it all.
The why is so important.
So you can like genuinely connect with your date.
That's the goal.
So I was going through all this stuff you sent.
Lots of good stuff.
And it's really interesting.
What is it?
It's like, even though these sources are all so different,
Yeah, totally different vibes.
they all seem to agree on the fundamentals.
They do.
It's really fascinating.
Nice.
Like these principles of connection, so universal.
Totally universal.
Yeah,
So let's jump right in.
let's do it.
15 First Date Tips talks a lot about,
I love that one.
setting the scene.
Setting the scene. It's
Finding that perfect first date spot.
so important.
Yeah, they suggest something low-key,
Keep it casual.
like coffee tacos,
Classic.
even a walk in the park.
I love a good park date.
But then, 8 ways to make an amazing first date impression.
Oh, yeah, that one's a little fancier.
A little fancier.
A little bit.
They mentioned going to a nice bar or restaurant,
Ooh la la.
and even say the guy should pick up the check.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, that seems kind of different, right?
It does. Different vibes.
Totally different vibes.
So how do we decide?
Well, I think what matters most is that,
Right.
the place you go fits the kind of vibe you're both looking for.
Right.
So like grabbing a coffee,
Yeah.
that keeps things super casual.
Yeah.
Whereas a fancy dinner,
Yeah.
that might feel more romantic. It depends on what you're going for.
And 8 ways also mentions complimenting the guy
Oh,
on his choice of venue.
smooth move.
So it seems like putting thought into it.
It shows you care.
Yeah, it really makes a difference.
It does.
Like you're paying attention.
Exactly.
You put in some effort.
Effort is attractive.
But even beyond that,
Yeah.
the setting itself
It's a setting, yes.
can really influence the conversation.
Oh, for sure.
Like if it's loud and crowded,
You can't even hear each other.
yeah, it's hard to connect.
So hard.
But if it's quiet and cozy,
Much better.
you might find yourself opening up more.
You do.
It makes sense.
Makes total sense.
Another thing that struck me,
It's
all these sources really stress safety,
safety first.
especially 15 first date tips,
Yeah, they're big on that.
like meeting in public,
Always a good idea.
letting a friend know where you were going.
So smart.
It's striking how much they emphasize that.
Yeah, it's not just about physical safety. It's also about respect.
Respect. Okay.
Yeah, you're saying, I value your time,
Interesting.
and I value you enough to be thoughtful about this.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
Right from the start.
Right for the get-go.
So you're saying it's not just about like not getting kidnapped.
Not just about that. No,
That's about like setting the tone.
it sets foundation of trust.
Trust. Okay.
That's huge.
And actually, how to make a good impression on your first date.
Oh, yeah, what do they say?
They connect safety with building trust too.
We do.
It's like you're creating a space where you can both relax.
A safe space.
Yeah, and be yourselves.
Exactly.
When you feel safe and respected,
Right.
you're more likely to be authentic,
Authenticity is key.
which is like the whole point of dating,
You
right?
got it.
Okay, so speaking of being yourself,
Oh, boy, here we go.
let's talk about what to wear.
The age-old question.
It seems like every source has an opinion on this.
Everyone's a fashion critic.
8 ways even suggest specific colors.
Oh, yeah, like what to...
Like pink for romance,
Ooh, flirt.
red for power,
Bull.
blue for trustworthiness.
Reliable.
It's a lot to think about.
I know, right?
And then how to make really good first impressions.
What do they say?
They have different tips for men and women,
Really?
which feels a little old-fashioned.
A little bit, yeah.
But you know what I think it comes down to?
What's that?
How the clothes make you feel.
Yeah, that's what matters.
It's like that blue ocean strategy idea
Good idea.
about using clothing to boost your confidence.
Oh, yeah. Dress to impress yourself.
Exactly.
It's all about how you feel.
When you feel good,
Right.
you project confidence.
And confidence is attractive.
Totally.
But you know what else is interesting?
What?
How to make really good first impressions recommends asking
Oh,
deep, thought-provoking questions.
Wow.
Like right off the bat.
On a first date.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I thought so too.
Because it seems counterintuitive
It does.
for a first date.
Yeah, you'd think it's all about small talk.
Right. But they're pushing back against that.
They are?
Yeah, they even give examples,
Like what?
like asking about your date's biggest fear
Whoa,
or what makes them cry.
that's heavy stuff.
It is.
For a first date.
I know, but there's a reason.
What's the reason?
It's psychology.
Okay, tell me more.
When you share something vulnerable,
Yeah.
it encourages the other person to do the same.
Oh, interesting.
It creates a deeper connection.
Deeper than like, where'd you go to college?
Way deeper.
Like instant intimacy.
Pretty much.
And you know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
15 first date tips encourages you to talk about your faith
Oh, yeah.
early on.
If it's important to you,
Yeah.
it's the same idea.
Put it all out there.
Exactly.
See if you're compatible.
Saves time and energy in the long run.
So we've talked about talking,
We have.
but what about listening?
Oh, that's crucial.
Both how to make really good first impressions and blue ocean strategy.
Two of my favorite. Spent a lot of time talking about how to be a good listener.
Most people could use some work on that.
For real.
It's more than just hearing the words.
Okay.
It's about showing you're engaged.
How do you do that?
Well, they give some tips,
Like what?
like summarizing what your date said,
Oh, yeah.
asking follow-up questions, even just paying attention to your body language,
Body language. Okay.
nodding your head, making eye contact.
Showing you're present.
That's the key.
It all goes back to making it a two-way street,
Right.
like you were saying.
It shows you're genuinely interested.
And that makes people feel good.
It does.
Seen, heard.
Exactly.
And when you feel that way,
You open up more,
you share more.
the connection gets stronger.
It's a positive feedback loop.
I love that.
Okay, so on to the less fun stuff.
Uh-oh.
But equally important,
What's that?
red flags.
Everyone's got them.
15 first date tips. Had a good list.
Fill me in.
Being late.
Classic red flag.
Being rude.
No excuse for that.
Violating boundaries. It's not cool.
And remember that tip from 8 Ways
Which one?
about how your date treats the wait staff?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Huge.
How someone treats people in service roles.
It tells you a lot
It does.
about their character.
Couldn't agree more.
This is where trusting your gut comes in.
Your gut is usually right.
If something feels off,
Don't ignore it.
it probably is.
Exactly.
Like that blue ocean strategy idea
What's that?
about being authentic.
Well, yeah.
If something feels off,
It's a sign.
don't force it.
It won't work.
It all circles back to how to make a good impression on your first date.
What do they say?
You deserve to be with someone who appreciates you
You do.
for who you are.
The real you.
If you're always overlooking red flags.
You're not being true to yourself.
So, after all these sources,
All that research.
what's the most important thing
Good question.
for our listener to keep in mind?
Well, every single source agrees on one thing.
What's that?
Be yourself.
It sounds cliche.
It does, but it's true.
It's the best advice.
15 first date tips even says,
They say,
the right person will find your quirks and imperfections lovable.
love that.
And that's what Blue Ocean Strategy is all about.
What's that?
Standing out from the crowd.
Be unique.
Embrace what makes you you.
Don't try to fit a mold.
Because trying to be someone you're not,
It's exhausting.
it's not sustainable.
It'll come out eventually.
And wouldn't you rather be with someone
Yeah.
who loves you for who you really are?
Of course.
So be authentic,
Yes.
be confident,
Uh-huh.
and let your personality shine.
Shine bright.
Okay, one last thing.
Hit me with it.
Before we wrap up part one,
Okay.
what about after the date?
After the date,
Both 15 first date tips and Blue Ocean Strategy.
they're back.
Give some tips on how to follow up.
The follow-up is key.
It's a balancing act, right?
It is.
You want to show you're interested.
But not too interested.
15 first date tips is really big on honesty.
They are.
Even if there wasn't a spark. It's better to communicate.
Then to ghost.
Ghosting is never a good look.
Never.
But even if you are interested,
Yeah.
there's a right way and a wrong way.
Follow up.
So how do we strike that balance?
That's the million-dollar question.
How do you convey genuine interest
Yeah.
without seeming desperate or
Right.
pushy?
Ooh. That's what we'll explore in part 2.
Can't wait.
It's going to be good.
Uh,
Welcome back to our deep dive all about making those killer first impressions on dates.
so before the break, we were talking about that tricky follow-up.
Oh, yeah.
How do you follow up after a date
It's an art form.
without making things weird?
You don't want to be too eager.
Yeah. No one wants to get that like super intense text
Oh, I know.
like the second you walk out the door.
Way too much.
So how do we do it right?
Well, it's fascinating, actually.
Tell me.
These sources tie the follow-up back to authenticity.
Oh, really?
Remember Blue Ocean Strategy?
Yeah.
They had tips on graceful follow-up.
Uh-huh.
They suggest keeping it simple, like a quick text.
Just saying, hey,
Yeah, saying you enjoyed yourself
I had fun.
and maybe hint that you want to see them again.
Leave them wanting more.
Exact.
And 15 first date tips.
What do they say?
They're all about honesty.
Honesty is the best policy,
Even if there wasn't a spark.
which happens.
Yeah, it does.
It's better to be upfront.
Than to ghost.
Ghosting is rude.
The worst.
So it really comes down to respect.
Okay, respect.
Respect for yourself.
Yeah.
And respect for the other person.
No one likes to be left hanging.
It's the worst feeling.
Okay, so earlier you said
Yeah.
you had some unexpected takeaways from all this.
I did.
From this whole deep dive.
Yeah, some things that surprised me.
I'm dying to hear them.
Okay, well, the first one
Okay.
was just how much emphasis
Yeah.
all these sources put on nonverbal communication.
Oh, interesting.
We always get so caught up.
In what to say.
Yeah. In the words.
But our bodies are saying stuff too.
They are constantly communicating.
It's like that saying.
What's that?
People might forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly.
And feeling heard and understood.
That's powerful.
Especially on a date.
Okay, so what about the second takeaway?
What's number 2?
This one might sound counterintuitive,
Ooh, I love counterintuitive stuff.
but it's the importance of vulnerability.
Vulnerability on a first date.
Yeah. We tend to think,
You got to present your best self.
yeah, all shiny and perfect.
But letting your guard down a little
Showing some vulnerability.
can lead to a deeper connection.
That's what we're after, right?
So like how to make really good first impressions suggests those thought-provoking questions.
Yes.
Ones that go beyond small talk.
Right to the heart of who someone is.
I love that.
It's not about oversharing
No.
or spilling all your
Just
secrets.
the first date.
No, just little glimpses
Showing you're open.
to connecting on a deeper level.
And 15 first date tips connects this to being open about your faith.
Oh, yeah, if that's important to you.
It all comes back to being yourself.
And letting someone see the real you.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, maybe not all the ugly.
Okay, so 2 great takeaways.
2 downs, 1 to go.
What's the final unexpected thing you learned?
This one's more about mindset
Okay.
than any specific actions.
I'm intrigued.
It's about shifting your focus
Okay, from what to what?
from seeing the first date as a performance
Oh, yeah.
to seeing it as an opportunity to learn.
Interesting. So instead of going in with a checklist,
Exactly.
be curious.
Learn something new.
Not just about them, but about yourself, too.
It can be really illuminating.
Even if it doesn't lead to a second date,
You still learn something.
about yourself
Maybe what you're looking for.
or what you have to offer.
It's all valuable information.
So we've covered a lot
We have
from where to go
what to wear,
to these deeper insights
about communication,
vulnerability,
curiosity,
and it all boils down to
a few key principles,
authenticity
respect.
and curiosity.
If you bring those to the table,
You're already winning.
whether there's a second date or not,
Because at the end of the day,
dating is about connection,
not about checking boxes.
exploring, learning, growing.
Speaking of exploring and growing,
I see what you did there.
it's time for us to explore part 3 of this deep dive. So we've talked a lot about first dates,
A lot of info.
but I'm thinking,
What are you thinking?
like, does any of this
This advice.
go beyond just dating?
That's a good question.
Could we use this stuff?
In other parts of life, too.
Yeah, like at work
Oh, totally.
or even with friends.
It all comes back to those core principles.
Yeah, those principles.
Authenticity, respect, curiosity.
Those are important everywhere.
Not just on dates.
I'm already thinking about how I could use some of this stuff.
At work, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Like active listening?
Oh, yeah,
That's huge in any relationship.
for sure.
Really focusing on what someone's saying.
Making them feel heard.
You can change the whole dynamic.
Yeah. And that blue ocean strategy idea
Which one?
about confidence and authenticity,
Yes.
that's got to be useful everywhere.
It is.
Whether you're giving a presentation
Or going on a date.
or just meeting new people.
You always want to project confidence.
And be yourself.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up,
Our deep dive.
yeah, this deep dive on first impressions,
It's been a journey.
let's bring it back to our listener.
Our lucky listener.
Who's got that big date coming up.
They're probably taking notes.
I hope so.
Remember, true confidence.
Yeah,
It doesn't come from memorizing rules.
it comes from within.
It comes from embracing who you are.
Like 15 first date tips said,
What do they say?
the right person will find your quirks and imperfections lovable.
So cheesy, but so true.
Be yourself.
Relax.
Have fun.
See it as an adventure
An opportunity to connect.
with another human being.
And if you can bring some of that blue ocean strategy thinking to the table,
Be creative.
Be bold.
Stand
You
out.
never know what might happen.
The possibilities are endless.
We're rooting for you, listener,
Go get them.
and we want to hear how it goes.
Send us an update.
But for now,
Yeah.
we'll leave you with this.
One last thought.
Everything we talked about today.
All those tips and tricks.
What resonated with you the most?
What really stuck with you?
And how can you use that?
Not just on this date.
But in other parts of your life, too.
Maybe it was the how to make really good first impressions. Advice about listening.
Oh, yeah.
Or the blue ocean strategy reminder to be authentic.
Good ones.
Whatever it is,
Hold on to it
let it guide you.
in all your interactions.
Because making a great first impression.
It's all about being the best version of yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Until next time,
Keep learning
keep exploring.
and keep diving deep.